Thank you so much. Just a correction there, Tulas. Of course, we still on this very breaking news, the adoption of the declaration by an overwhelming consensus. I'm not joined by Vincent Magwenya, who's the presidential spokesperson, but of course I am joined by Dr. Sithembile Mbethe, who will unpack this for us and what it actually means for the ordinary person, who's sitting in Alexandra Township, asking herself what this actually means for the G20 and specifically for South Africans.
Well, I think the importance of having the declaration being adopted as a consensus. We know that over the last week, President Trump of the United States, who said firstly that he's not coming, he's not sending a delegation, and that there mustn't be a declaration adopted because the United States isn't here. And so if the leaders have decided that they are going to adopt a declaration, which is just a summary of what's come out of the 130 meetings that have happened in the G20 over the last year, I think that is a really good thing, and it reinforces firstly the credibility of the G20 and the legitimacy of the G20, whether or not the United States is here and participating. And I think it's a really important thing to just show that the G20 needs to be taken seriously as a negotiating forum, whether or not the US is here or not.
Dr. Mbethe, before we toss over to Sherwin, sometimes we tend to forget the key priorities of South Africa's G20 presidency. We heard their President Cyril Ramaphosa talking about 4 priorities. He speaks about strengthening disaster resilience response, ensuring debt sustainability for low-income countries, mobilizing finance for just energy transition. This is very important because these are one of our main priorities as a country, harnessing critical minerals for inclusive growth and sustainable development. Unpack this for us and how it actually translates to South Africa.
Well, in the disaster relief and dealing with disasters, we've seen so many natural disasters in South Africa. In the Caribbean, you saw them being hit by a hurricane that has destroyed a lot of the countries there. And these are countries that are being most affected by climate change, are not the ones that caused the problem in the first place. Same thing then with having an inclusive, just transition, that we need to make sure that climate finance goes to the people that need it the most to be able to develop, in this new renewable energy economy. And the reason why it's important that South Africa's put these issues on the agenda is, like I like to say, if you're not sitting at the table, then you are on the menu. And we are hosting the dinner party, we're hosting the lunch this year, which is allowing us to make sure that these issues are not only on the agenda, but they're on the agenda in a way that benefits us as a country and as a continent especially. And I think the issue of critical minerals, because so many of those minerals come out of the African continent, and yet we don't benefit from them when they have gone outside.
Dr. Seth, thank you so much. We'll park this conversation for now. Of course, we will catch up with you later on. I do understand that my colleague Sherwin Bryce-Pease is joined by Vincent Magwenya, who is the presidential spokesperson. Sherwin?